to Ginny's Gin Livestream. I'm Ginny, and along with my husband Rob and our dearest friends Amy and Jeff Close, we founded Ginny's Gin a few years ago. There's a lot of you obviously that already know the story behind this, but hopefully we've got some new faces as well, and so enjoy the cocktails that we have for you. It is Valentine's Day on Sunday, so both of us are going to make a cocktail that you could serve to your loved one. And the one that I've chosen actually is because I love the name of it, and so that's why I've chosen to do this particular cocktail for Sunday. So I'm going to go back with a little history behind the cocktail that I'm about to make. So you probably, most of you have heard of the swanky London hotel, the Savoy. It's in the Strand, and equally famous is the American bar in the Savoy Hotel. And some of the most classic, famous cocktails that we imbibe today come from the Savoy. And one of the head bartenders, the lead bartender, was a guy named Harry Craddock. And Harry, he fled from the United States in 1920 because of Prohibition. Obviously his job was bartending, and that wasn't going to happen during Prohibition. So he buggered off to London and finally ended up at the Savoy Hotel, became the lead bartender there. And part of what he did and why he became quite famous is because he decided that he was going to write down all the cocktails that he had served over the years, many of which he had invented himself as well. So the Harry Craddock's 1930 Savoy cocktail book happens to be one of the most important tomes if you're in the booze business, if you're in the industry. And what I love about it is that they were sort of written down and preserved for posterity. So a lot of these Prohibition era cocktails are now being served today. Here in America, and obviously in England as well, the whole cocktail scene has been rejuvenated, and a lot of these young bartenders who are obviously forging their own paths, but they're looking back to the past and maybe doing riffs on some of the originals and the classics. And of course, the classics are still being served and loved to this day. So thank you, Harry Craddock. So one of the other bartenders that became fairly famous, she was the lead bartender. She was there in 1903, and she worked at the Savoy in the American bar for 23 years. And her name was Ada Coleman. So Ada, there weren't a lot of bartenders. In fact, that coveted position that she got as lead bartender, she was one of only 2 women that ever held that coveted position. So good job, Ada. And she must have been really cool. And I'm going to actually show you a photo of her because she's not your typical barmaid. But look, there's Ada. And there she is in the early 1900s doing her thing. And she served cocktails for all sorts of dignitaries, the Prince of Wales, Charlie Chaplin, Mark Twain. Anybody that was famous would sidle up to the bar at the Savoy Hotel, the American bar. And I guess how the story goes for the cocktail that I'm about to make. So this very famous celebrated actor and writer, he sidled up to the bar. And he said, so her nickname by all of her patrons, the locals, they called her Coley, not just Ada Coleman, but they called her Coley. So that was her nickname. So he sidled up to the bar and he said, hey Coley, I'm tired. Can you make me a drink with a bit of punch in it? Needs a bit of a punch. So here she is. She mixes up this cocktail, and he takes his first sip, and he imbibes the whole drink. And he's like, wow, he exclaimed to her, he's like, well, that's quite a hanky-panky. So, back in the day, hanky-panky actually meant sort of witchcraft or magic. So clearly this cocktail revived him and, produced the magic that he needed to get over his tiredness and what have you. So forever after, this cocktail has been called the hanky-panky. And it's been preserved in Harry Craddock's cocktail book as the hanky-panky. And if you Google hanky-panky cocktail, it comes up. It's a very simple cocktail. But obviously, for our purposes, for Valentine's Day, I'm making the Hanky Panky because, you know, for me, Hanky Panky for us means a little bit of nookie, right? Something fun on Valentine's Day. So I am making the Hanky Panky. Okay, actually, what I meant to say is what he said, and I forgot this. He said, "By Jove, that's quite the Hanky Panky." So anyway, I'm going to my London roots here, or my British roots. So very simple cocktail. I'm going to make it very quickly here for you. Because, you know, you don't, on Valentine's Day, you don't want to be spending a lot of time making a cocktail because you want to get to the Hanky Panky, presumably, right? For those of people that still have Hanky Panky. Okay, so 3 ingredients, as I say, very simple. We're going to start with 2 ounces of Ginny's gin. Here we go, which is where we always start. Okay. Oh, so Ada, when she started at the Savoy, so what happened was her father died when she was 24 years of age, and she needed to get herself a job. And you know, back then they didn't really think that that was a great job for females, and they were trying to stop them from even becoming bartenders. You know, they didn't like it too much. But obviously she made a name for herself, and she's, you know, the cocktail has been preserved in history. But it's interesting, you know, how oh, and then so she's 24 years of age, and she's applying for these jobs as, you know, as a bartender, and the upper limit for any female bartender was 25. They would actually say nobody over the age of 25 need apply. So that was the criteria for bartenders, female bartenders in London and in England, evidently. So how far we've come these days. Okay, 2 ounces of Ginny's gin, and then the same amount, 2 ounces of sweet vermouth. So, you know, there's different types of sweet vermouth, you know, whatever you have in the cabinet. You have probably one of the sweeter ones, you know, it's like a Dubonnet or, oh, what is it called? I can't remember the name of it. And then you've got Puntemez, and that is translated to 1.5, which means that it's sort of it's a little bit more bitter than some of the sweet vermouth. So there's a ratio of 1.5 sweet to bitter. And then what else? Oh, and then we really like this one as well. This is the Antica formula. So that's a sweet vermouth as well. There's plenty of them on the shelves, so just pick the one that you like the best. And we're going to do an equal amount of the sweet vermouth as we did with the gin. So in this case, 2 ounces. This is a really nice winter, you know, a sort of cold weather drink. It's like a martini, you know, but it's got, it's a bit like a Martinez. But what we're going to do, and the piece de resistance, is, if you like, is the Fernet. So Fernet is an Italian liqueur. It's an herbal liqueur. It's sort of in the same area as, what do you say, like an Amaro, I guess. You know, it is very bitter. I think that first taste that you get is fairly minty. There's a licorice to it. So probably the most famous of the Fernets is the Branca, Fernet Branca. These guys have obviously done really well. They did a great job with their marketing. If you're a bartender, this really is a bartender's darling. And there's I think there's like 27 different herbs and roots and what have you that go into the Fernet. It's a grape distillate.
Someone's drinking a lot.
A lot of sommeliers like it as well. Yeah, it's...
After their shift, they have one.
I think if you order a Fernet Branca when you go up to the bar, and you'll be very, you know, the bartender will respect you, put it that way. So what we're going to do here, you could do 2 dashes. You could take an eyedropper and just do a couple of dashes, you know, as you would bitters. Or you can take a bar spoon, and then you can just do a bar spoon of it as well. So depending on how bitter you want it, how much you want to introduce, just add a little to your taste, obviously. So I'm going to do the bar spoon. There we go. And the simplicity of this, you know, there's no, we can just stir this. We don't have to shake it up and froth it up. You know, there's no egg whites or anything. If it's all clear, then it's perfectly, you know, good to just stir in because you're trying to make it obviously super cold. So I'm going to add some ice out and then stir it up. This is called a mixing glass, but if you don't have a mixing glass, you can just use a mason jar or any kind of glassware that you have and stir it for quite a bit of time because you want to make sure that it's nice and cold. Now, you could have kept this, you know, if I had the time, then I could have kept this in the freezer. And you would like your cocktail glass to be in the freezer as well. Obviously, I'm right here in front of you, and so that's, you know, makes it a little tough. So glassware, everything needs to be nice and cold so that the cocktail doesn't dilute and get warm as quickly. So, what do you look at? There's probably a special way of stirring in there. I know there is, but I'm not a bartender, so.
I was just, no.
But I'm going to keep going so it's super cold. But so, yeah, so Ada Coleman, she came up with the Hanky Panky.
You need a drill.
Yeah, there we go. And it's kind of a nice reddish colour as well, so I thought that was appropriate, obviously, for Valentine's. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to strain it into my cocktail glass. Pick your prettiest one, obviously, for Valentine's. So there it is. A pretty reddish colour. And that does, it packs a punch for sure, you know, has the little, if you are tired, it's a good one to have. So because it's Valentine's, obviously you have to do some kind of lovely garnish for Valentine's. So I'm going to show you how to do this one. Hopefully I'll get it right. If not, I have one that I've prepared before. So you're going to take your peeler and make a nice big swath of orange. There we go. And so this is the garnish for the Hanky Panky. What you would do is you would express the orange and then you would just place it into the drink. But I'm going to do something fun with it because it is going to be Valentine's. So here's what I'm going to do. So you've got this piece of orange peel like this, and you're going to make a rectangle, long rectangle out of it, like this. And then what you're going to do, so you've got your rectangle, you're going to take this, well, I should do it, let's do it here. You're going to slice down through here, but you're going to leave about a ½ inch so that it's connected at the top. So let me show you here. So you're going to slice down through the middle, like that, like a pair of pants, like that. So it is connected. And then, hold on, I'll be right back. We're going to take one of these, and it doesn't matter whether, you know, whether it's a stick or it's silver or whatever it's made out of wood, and we're going to make a love heart with it. So we're going to go through and make the shape of a love heart. So through these two, and then through these two, like this, and you get a love heart. Isn't that cute? You know, it's funny, you can Google anything, right? And you find all these things, and you go off down the rabbit hole because you start looking at different garnishes and what you can do, because people come up with these crazy things and you can watch it on YouTube or what have you. So I Googled it, and what you can do. You could do it with the lemon, you could do it with lime, and in this case it's orange because the cocktail, the Hanky Panky, actually calls for an orange garnish. So there is the love heart in the Hanky Panky, and I hope you all have a little Hanky Panky this Valentine's. And Rob has an equally beautiful garnish for his cocktail as well, so enjoy, and I'll be back in a sec. Okay, Rob, I'll left you the knife.
Okay, hi everybody. I've got a cool drink. It's gonna have some little hearts on top and a rose made out of a strawberry. So basically, if you want to make a rose out of a strawberry, just take a super sharp little small knife. I have one that I couldn't find, but you just kind of keep peeling back around on the diagonal little parts like that. Yeah, looks cool. And you leave the flower, the I don't know, the green part on. Looks cool. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our gin and we're gonna put 2 ounces for a drink. 1 and 2. Okay, there's our 2 ounces of gin, and then we're gonna chuck 1 strawberry. 1 ripe strawberry in there, and we must else we'll just get everything in the pool. And then we're gonna do 1/2 ounce of simple syrup and 1 ounce of lemon. Which, these are really juicy lemons, so if I take like 3/4 of it and drop it into this little dude here, I bet I can come up with my full ounce out of 1/2 of a, yeah, easily. Okay, so there we go, there's your ounce of lemon juice. And that's everything except the egg white. And the reason we're doing the egg white, one, is it just tastes delicious, but two, it allows us to put some bitters on top and make some little hearts. So a lot of people, you know, muddling is the right way to do this drink, but I also think that's really good if you just throw like 4 or 5 basil leaves in, which I've just done. And then in order to really get a lot of extraction and use less ingredients, if you give it a little buzz like this with the strawberry and the basil, then you don't have to do all that kind of muddling, and it actually extracts a little bit more and better. And then you can just take your mixing tin and strain right into it. So there you go. And yeah, I was gonna, like, of course, I need the muddler to push this through, but it's okay. I got the back of the knife. There we go. Okay. So, just for the heck of it, 2 drops of saline, or just a little, you could put a little pinch of kosher salt. And now everything is in there except the egg white, and we're gonna go ahead and do like 1/2 an egg white is probably enough, which is about 1/2 ounce. So there's 1/2 ounce of egg white. Let's give it a quick dry shake. We got our nice frosted glass. Dry shake, froth it up a bit, and then open it up, and we'll put our Yeah, 1 square and 2 regular size ice cubes. And that's it. Nice and cold. It's tight. Come right in there with our nice pink frosty, not quite full enough drink.
Really?
Yeah, nearly, right? And then I've got some barrel-aged bitters. I really like it for this drink for Valentine's Day because it's red, and I also think it tastes great with any kind of little bit sweet drinks. I only did a 1/2 ounce of simple syrup with the sugar and the strawberry. So then you can do like 1, 2, 3, 4 pretty good sized red dots, and they float right on top of the drink, of the foam, and then you take a toothpick and you
Want me to?
drag it through them, and it makes little hearts.
Yeah.
I don't know, you're not going to see it, but trust me, they look like little tiny hearts.
Look on our
and
Instagram.
It's round, and as you go with the
like
yeah.
a coffee.
And then, you know, you can take your beautifully fashioned strawberry rose and just kind of open him back up a little bit because he was just laying down. Just peel these little guys open, and then we'll just put this guy right there.
Beautiful.
And there you go.
Look at that. What are you calling this, Rob?
Will you be my Valentine?
Oh, will you be my Valentine?
Yeah.
And the Hanky Panky. Hopefully one leads to the other, right?
Cool.
Yep. Okay, guys. Well, have a great weekend and happy Valentine's. I'm sort of off-brand with the colours today because I have the hearts on my scarf. My Valentine's scarf. Anyway, we hope you enjoy Valentine's. Let me give you yours so you can drink it, honey.
Okay.
It's Friday.
I made myself a drink.
There we go. Cheers to everybody, and sending you lots of love for Valentine's. I'm going to take my love off for a second. There we go. And cheers. Mm-hmm.
It's good with strawberry
Yeah.
without basil, but it's also really good with the basil too.
Awesome.
So,
Okay.
there
Great.
you have it.
Okay, guys.
Right.
See you next week. Happy
Cheers.
Valentine's.